Hey everybody, welcome back to BigRedEDC. Well, we've got the second Molsect knife that they sent out. Now this is the Coastline. You've already seen the Orbit. I kind of like the Orbit myself. I mean, it kind of had a little bit of a noisy-ish pivot, but nothing too major. I really like the feel of this. Now this one is the Coastline, and where the Orbit was feeling, pretty good, and I got a little bit more, I guess, harsher things to say about this one, but we'll get to that. First, we'll just kind of talk over it. I mean, we've got G10. It's CNC machined G10. You've got some pretty decent texturing going on there. Milling. It's got good grip for sure. Open construction. No specified lanyard hole or anything like that, but if you really want to get a lanyard, I mean, you could always do the keyring thing, but I think you could tie a lanyard around really either one of those posts and be fine with that. Everything is chamfered off pretty well, but like down here, we're still kind of squared off. I mean, it's chamfered but squared at the same time on both sides. So that's kind of one of the points that I was referring to earlier. Now we're getting back. We've got the flathead pivot again. I think I don't know. I'm past it. I'm kind of over flathead pivots. Not really. I think Torx are just better, in my opinion. I don't know. Tell me what you think down in the description. But like I said, open construction on this one. You do have a right-hand tip-up carry-only pocket clip, so it is not reversible. It is embedded into the scale, which is nice. Pretty well recessed screws. Yeah, nothing too major there. And it is, it's a deep carry clip. You will have a little bit sticking out of your pocket with the shape of the handle, but we'll check that out. Now, it's flipper deployment only. You do have some jimping on that flipper tab, which doesn't really do anything for the grip as far as the flipper goes. It flips decent. Got to get it past that detent ball. I mean, it flips pretty decent. The detent's okay. The detent's okay. Got to get it past that. Doesn't feel like there's much of a ramp there. No, I haven't taken this knife apart. And the access to the lock bar definitely doesn't really help, because it doesn't really feel like there's a ramp there. So you've got to get low on it, get it past that detent ball, and then you can shake it down. But you've got a coated 14C28N blade. Kind of a little bit of a light wash going on there. There you go. It's got a decent look to it. Drop point. Your choil, not much of one. You do kind of have you do have this, but you're getting kind of a little bit of a smile there that kind of went far back on the grind, as you can see there. Grinds look pretty even. And I forgot to show you on the centering, but it is, it's pretty well centered up. So that's good. That's it. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this may be one of the earlier models and the Orbit came later. I'm not sure on the order of these two, how they came. But to me, this kind of looks and feels more like an earlier rendition or an earlier knife rather than the Orbit. Because it just looks like some of the things that I am not liking on this knife were improved on the Orbit. So, not 100% sure. If it goes the other way, they might be going backwards. But that's okay. That's okay. Hopefully they learn. But all right, here's our spec check. So overall, it's a decent sized knife. It's 7.5 inches. You're looking at about 4.25 on the handle and about 3.25, maybe just a little more on the blade. Pretty much a full cutting edge. And then you're coming in at just right about, it's just over 3.5, 3 5/8, and that's pretty much how it wraps up in my 3.5 inch hand. So that portion of it, grip, feels pretty darn good. Let's get a weight on it. It is. Now, the Orbit and this one, these are the first Molsect knives I've had on the channel. So you got 4.3 ounces. And, oh, we went too far. 122 grams. And, of course, we'll check the carry. I mean, in the pocket, as you can see there, the pocket clip is pretty tight. Works a little bit better if you're wearing the jeans and over the top, but as you can see, you don't have a whole lot of ramp there, so you've really got to catch it. You've really got to catch it and get it in the pocket. So, and then your retention is okay. It's kind of funny. It's kind of a little bit of a, as far as retention goes, it probably could be a little bit stiffer. I mean, it's a stainless steel clip. So now the overall, you know, as you can see here, this knife does not have a whole lot of weight reduction. I think that would be a large improvement on this knife. 4.3 ounces, that's what we said, right? I think with the weight reduction, you could definitely get it under 4. And I think that would be a little bit more of a positive for this knife. Now, ergonomically, it's pretty darn good, except for the squared off edges that I was talking about. It hugs my hand. Now, are they hot spots or anything like that? No. It's just not as comfortable as many other knives have been. It's not bad. The clip is good. I'm not feeling the liner, which is good. But like I said before, you've got to kind of shake it. You got to get low on it and shake it past that pivot. So not much of a ramp. You could put a ramp in there if you would like, if that's your thing. If you're more of a, if you like to fiddle with your knives, definitely you could build your own detent ramp or improve the one that's there if you want to. But like I said, now, okay, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I've heard some, you know, disparaging words about Molsect, and I wanted to check them out for themselves. Like I said before, the Orbit, I really liked the Orbit. Yeah, it had a little bit of a noisy pivot. And this one, by the way, has got brass bearings in it. The Coastline does. Yeah. If this was my first knife I saw from Molsect, I'd probably be a little bit disappointed, and here's why. It sells for about $50. Okay? And there's a lot of competition for budget knives in that $30 to $50 range. And this one, to me, doesn't really stack up. It doesn't have any weight reduction going on. It's missing just that little bit of extra attention that could be paid to these knives, and so many do, you know? So if this was my first, and if this was, you know, some of the people that I've heard talk, if this is the only one they've seen, I could understand why. Now, luckily, I handled the Orbit, messed with the Orbit first, and I liked the Orbit. I really did. But this one, the Coastline, not so much. You know, I could maybe see the Orbit getting into my collection as a budget EDC. This one, not so much. I'm not so high on the Coastline. So if you're looking, and I can only tell you 2 different models, if you're thinking about giving Molsect a shot, my personal recommendation would be the Orbit over the Coastline, for sure. You might like the Coastline. I don't know. I'm just telling you my thoughts and what I think of the 2 knives. So that was the big reason. From what I'd heard, that was the big reason why I wanted to see the 2 different, or I wanted to see something from Molsect. And they reached out. I didn't reach out to them. They reached out to me, and I was like, yeah, I do. I'd really like to see what you got. I'm glad I saw the Orbit first. That's pretty much, because it gives me hope. That's the main point I want to say. The Orbit, it gives me hope. Could there be some improvements on that one too? Yeah, it's still got the flathead pivot on it. Not so much there. And a little bit of a noisy pivot as well. So, improvements could be made. I hope Molsect takes what they're hearing and makes those improvements. You know, because I mean, you know, we heard a lot of disparaging things about Remet knives when they first came out. And you guys know where Remet's at. You know, it's not saying they can't improve. Now, the one thing I did want to show you that I didn't on the Orbit, and I apologize, is this is kind of how they come. They've got this sort of faux leather sort of pouch. And let's see, what do we got in there? Oh, we got some poison for the trolls, of course. You get a sticker. That's cool. You get a cleaning cloth. I like that. That's cool. They even give you a little bit of paracord so you can make your own lanyard. Does it say what color it is? Not for sale. Don't sell it. I won't sell it, I promise. Nah, it's probably... I'm guessing it's probably black. I didn't even open it because I don't use lanyards or anything like that. And you got this pin. So, I mean, yeah, they give you some swag and stuff. Is that to make up for the knife? Maybe. In this condition, I would say maybe. In the Coastlines world, I would say possibly. It very well could be. The Orbit, not so much. Would consider it on the Orbit. I just consider it lots of nice extras. So yeah. So there you go, guys. There's my thoughts so far on Molsect. If they give me the opportunity to see more, I will definitely take it. I want to see if they can improve upon the stuff that I've told you, especially about the Coastline. But with definitely some changes I would like to see to what they do. So, appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Have a wonderful rest of your day. As always, like, subscribe, leave me that comment. You know I love talking to you. Until next time, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.